And good afternoon to everybody. It is now April 15th. April 15th is Good Friday, so you get an extra weekend with your taxes. I don't know what that really means, but it just kind of does. So Monday is tax day, not today. Today is Good Friday. Today is also the day before the last day of races for April. The last day of races for April over at the EPCAL in Cavalton. That is Racetrack Nut Street. If you don't know by now, if you've been following me, you don't know by now. I don't know. But anyhow, so it's Racetrack Not Streets, the website for the whole thing. Tomorrow is the last day of races for April. Really excited. Really excited about that. The weather looks good, so that's fine. Should be nice and consistent. To be a cloudy day from the last I heard, which means very consistent track surfaces, the rest of that. I'm sure with the setup of the cars, all that stuff kind of means something, as that goes along. I don't really know. I've never driven a race car, never driven a drag car and did that kind of a thing. Been in a go-kart, been in a little Capri, went around a circle, did a spectator drag racing there. Run with Jabrunga is what it was called there. This one's a little bit different. This is spectator drag racing. When I got started with it, I really didn't get that. I think, these are like, drag racing, it's the big cars and all the rest of that kind of stuff. Well, the reality is that, yeah, I mean, there's certainly some of those cars. There's some nostalgic cars that are there. There was a gentleman with his car. They used to race at Islip Speedway. When Islip Speedway had a drag strip, you are talking a long, long time ago. There's other cars that raced at National Speedway. We're talking a long, long time ago. National Speedway was based in Mauritius. Islip Speedway, believe it or not, was based in Islip. Then you had Freeport Speedway too. I don't think Freeport was ever a drag strip. And you currently have Riverhead Raceway that's going on, which is a circular track. So from a drag strip standpoint, straight line, this is it. This is the only game in town, and it's temporary still. Temporary. Well, the question is that does it make sense for it to become a permanent facility, whether it's at this location or another location? My humble opinion, the answer to that is yes. So here's what I've seen out there. One, you do have some of those cars. Two, most of the cars have got license plates. Most of these cars are street cars, modified, yes, some a little bit more than others, many of them not. Many of them just cars you buy right out of a showroom and bring them out there and race the car. Drag racing is different than what I did. What I did, it was years ago, but whatever, a circular thing. It was a different kind of stress on the car, a little bit more dangerous because you're going around a circle, so you're turning and the other person is turning. You're racing side by side, trying to get track position as that goes. It's only one lap, but still, it is there. If you're really being competitive, this one, no track position. Doesn't make a difference. You're in your lane, they're in their lane. That's it. That's really it. And actually, you might be racing against the other person if you so desire, or you just might be racing against yourself. You're not you're not really going head to head. There's no prize when it comes to that. Look, if you're going up against, your father, your brother, sister, mom, friend, whatever, maybe a little bit of a grudge match going on over there for that one. But for the most part, the cars are just kind of picked relatively randomly, try to match up cars that look like they're about the same speed, a little bit more exciting to watch from the spectator standpoint when it's a close race getting down there. But from a driver's perspective, my guess is that you're really racing against yourself. And when you get that time slip, you're getting the time slip that says how fast you went, what your reaction time was for you, not your reaction time based upon the other person, not top speed of car based upon the other person, but just you. Just you. So it's different. It's totally different. But with most of these cars, street cars, there's a few different things with that, especially the ones that are coming right out of the showroom. This is what I wondered too. Is like how many of the drivers, newer drivers across the board, forget about out there, right? I'm talking newer drivers across the board, really understand how powerful their car is. Years ago, I took a defensive driving class, not classroom class, but getting in a car class and learning how to handle that car. I had to go all the way up to New Hampshire for it. And yes, that would be one thing. Wouldn't it be nice to just drive out to somewhere in Riverhead, Calverton, as it may be, to learn how to drive a car, uh, when how to drive a car, not to drive a car more aggressively. I don't want to phrase it like that, but to avoid something in a moment's notice and understand the strengths of the car and the strength of you. And that was the big thing I learned out there when I did that defensive driving thing. It was really mostly in the slalom exercise that we did. So what it was a mid-sized car. I forget what kind. We were each individual person was behind the wheel. We were shown what we were supposed to be doing, and then we got in the car and tried to do it. Tried to do it. So we went to slalom course. It was all flat, stuff like that. We had to swerve in and out of cones. Hey, no big deal. You turn the car to the right, you turn the car to the left, you can do the whole thing. You try to do it as quickly as you possibly can. Now, all of a sudden, here's what you learned. One, if you're going too fast, making the turn, the car's not as responsive as one would think. It's not turning on a dime like a Formula One car. And number two, you get to learn about your own capabilities or lack of capabilities. And that's a big deal. And this is what I wanted to do. You go into a showroom, you buy yourself one of those cars, high performance vehicles, easy enough to do. Do you really understand the strength of the car and the strength of you? This was something that Pete Scalzo had brought up. And I think some of the reason behind the naming of the website, Race Track Not Street, to race the car on a track, not to race it on a street. And it's been mentioned a couple of times over that you could go out and buy cars today that are very fast, that you don't need to modify them like they did back in the 60s and 70s, where in order to get a fast car, you had to do your own work on it. They weren't that quick coming out of the showroom. Now they're that quick. They are that quick coming out of the showroom. So if this does become a permanent facility, one thing from a personal note is the fact that it would be interesting to see defensive driving classes out there. New drivers, high school students, people just getting their license for the first time, maybe people that have gone through, need to reduce some points, maybe people that are come through, had some issues when it came from driving, maybe people that want to see what they can do, build up a little bit more confidence in the car. Maybe people, and this is what took place out there too, there were a few people out there that were thinking about becoming race car drivers and driving competitively, maybe not professionally, but competitively. And they were looking to learn how to handle a car in a more proactive, stressful, active kind of a situation. There was also a few police officers that were there taking the class. Maybe rescue vehicle operators taking the class. Look, if you want to become a police officer and you're going to be in highway patrol or something like that, you have to learn how to drive that car. Is this the only place they're going to do it? Probably not. I'm sure there's much more extensive training that goes along with it. But hey, maybe you're thinking about becoming a police officer. Maybe you're going to go into that training. You want to get a little heads up as to a little bit more experience when it comes to driving a car at a higher rate of speed and going around cones or whatever that situation is out there. Same thing with firemen. Somebody drives that fire truck and the other vehicles, even those that are volunteer firefighters. When that siren goes off and you're on your way, pays to know how to drive that car if you're driving a little bit at a higher rate of speed. There's a lot of folks that would benefit from that defensive driving course from a lot of different reasons to make them more confident, safer, more understanding drivers, and learning about capabilities of different vehicles and capabilities of themselves. That happens to be one of them. Another thing that I got involved with, it was a whole lot of fun, which I see here on Long Island. It's something that's really popular too. It's go-karts. Yeah, go-karts. So I did this. So I went up to Lime Rock Park, Lime Rock, Connecticut, and they have an inside track, inside that big track that they have for the cars, that they use for go-karts. And I spent the day out there driving the cars, again, learning how to operate the car, did slalom stuff, learning how to brake, and then doing some races. It was a whole lot of fun. That's a track. There was the parking lot one too. Went to Englishtown, New Jersey. Raced the same go-karts. Go-karts do about 45 miles an hour, folks. These are not the 110-mile-an-hour go-karts, which are just absolutely incredible. Nowhere near qualified to drive that. 45 miles an hour, sure, I could do that. Let me tell you, that was a lot more challenging than I ever thought. So the race we did out there was a 1 hour race. You had to swap drivers, which we did. Had to go in for pits the pits with the swapping of drivers. Had to do 6 driver changes in that period of time, which was done. But it was a road course. Where was this road course? In a parking lot. Let me tell you, but the amount of space that was out there on those runways, tons of room to be able to do something like that. That was great. That was so much fun. Family entertainment. Who was there doing it? Well, family. My family. We did it. A few other folks that raced cars. They had an unbelievable advantage over my my efforts, and a whole slew of other people. I don't know, but it was really the folks that race cars. And I'm sitting out there for the first time doing this. Like, how am I supposed to be competitive? I wasn't. I wasn't. I think finished 30 out of about 40 drivers or so, or 40 teams, but whatever. But it was a load of fun, family fun, super safe, great stuff. It was a company from Florida that came up to go and do that. They were the ones that brought the carts and everything like that. But right here on Long Island is Go-Kart Association, Long Island Karting, Long Island Go-Kart. Go look them up. Where do they run their go-karts? Not really too sure, but they do it. They definitely do it. Then there's also a lot of model groups that are out there, airplane models, car model groups. Be interesting to have a facility for them to go to all the time if there was a permanent track out there. It's all family stuff, man. It's a lot of fun. What about any parks, picnics, fairs that you've gone to? It's another thing, another place that it can be used at. Also, different car shows. There's so many car shows. Another avenue for a permanent facility to be used for all of those things. It's great. Is this stuff noisy? No, it's not. Cars, depends on the situation as to what's going on, but you know what? It's good. And that leads me to the last 3 things here, where I really think, and this is what we've really been focusing on with the racetrack, not these other things, but the racetrack, is the fact that a spectator drag racing track over here, 1/8 of a mile, not 1/4 of a mile, no track compound, so the cars are just driving on concrete, just driving on regular roadway, concrete barriers, all the safety stuff is there. So it's more spectator kind of thing. It's more those people that 90% of the people that show up with their cars, street cars, license plates, all street legal cars to go race over there. So what actually happens? What's happening with that whole thing? Number one, all those families, and I'll tell you, families are able to attend. Why? Because if they have to drive out to New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, whatever, it becomes a full day event, maybe even a weekend event. Here, they're able to have breakfast at home, go out and do the races and come home for dinner. So you're really truly family fun in that respect from the drivers. And those people that are now going out to Calverton, Riverhead area have a chance at night or beforehand to go enjoy breakfast or dinner at so many of the restaurants that are out there. If people traveling from a little bit further, all the hotels. Has that been an impact? The answer is yes. And that was last year. Last year was only 9 races. As this continues to grow in popularity, as maybe we bring in people from some of the other states that want to do this thing, those folks are spending money here. They're now spending the weekend here, the overnights. They're going into the restaurants more frequently than maybe the local people. They're also staying at the hotels. They'll see a pickup in that. And I know some of the hotels are already running deals on that to attract those folks that are part of the racing community. But I also know some of the hotels have been benefiting from the car shows that they've been hosting over the years already. So it's there, definitely there. And these people that show up at these car shows, man, they're an amazing group. You should come down one night. Every Tuesday night, Mount Carmel Church over in Patchogue. Bring a food donation to the church. It's nice to give food out. They give food to the church. They donate it out. So you got that economic impact from a local level. You also have that tourism standpoint from possibly bringing in tourism dollars from other places, folks in Connecticut, Jersey, Pennsylvania, coming out over there. That stuff is going to be an impact as that goes. Entertainment, obviously. Look, it's very inexpensive. You get tickets, you go, you have a good time. Under 10 is even free at this point. Just enjoy it. Definitely enjoy it on a beautiful day. It's just so nice. So nice to go and do. And the other side of it, and I want to leave with this aspect of it. And there's a few others that we'll tell the story of, but right now it's the economic and tourism impact, positive impact in our area. But this is where I really think it becomes something that will benefit all of us in a multitude of different ways. And that's the vocational programs. Yeah, that's right. Now think about this. And I've had conversations and I get the, oh, yeah, you know what? You're right about this. Nice to be right once in a while, right? But I do believe that a drag strip track will become a catalyst for vocational programs. Programs. I'm using an S on that word. Programs. Multitude of them. Obviously, the automotive programs. There's a direct correlation, right? These students build a car. They bring it out there. They can race it. It's got to meet safety requirements. That's all good. Doesn't have to be street legal, but it does have to meet safety requirements. They have to wear a helmet. So what are these students learning? How to build a car, how a car works, automotive program. Great. Tesla knows that because they sponsor some of the students with paid internships at Suffolk Community College Automotive Program. They also have Suffolk Community College Automotive Program. You have Wilson Tech, you have BOCES, you have a lot of automotive programs inside of high schools. Beyond that is that these students are learning how to weld, composites, and a lot of other things, project management, that could be translated into other industries, such as aerospace, construction. Think about it. You know how to weld, you know how to work with plastics, project management. That's a shoe in on the aerospace industry. The welding side of things, it's a shoe in at so many places. We'll just use construction as the example on that one. So think about that. This drag racing is not just about running a car down an eighth of a mile track and seeing how fast you could go or seeing how quick your reaction time is. There's a lot more to it than that. A lot more far-reaching possibilities and benefits to the entire community. Because as these businesses, other businesses grow, and they get these students that we have in many of our school systems working over here, that's job creation, that's businesses that now have employees that they've been searching for, that's careers. That's a good thing. And that is a long-term sustainable answer to the many jobs that remain unfilled, to the many students that are looking for careers, not just jobs, and for the continued growth of tourism on Long Island that benefits all of us as people spend their dollars here. And that is what I have to say on that topic. I'll see you this Saturday, and I'll see you August throughout October. Going to be a whole lot of fun. Happy to chat with you about that. And you'll meet the sponsors there. You can ask them about this stuff. The non-automotive sponsors, ask them. They'll tell you. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to speak well. They're going to speak often. And they are definitely living inspired and helping others do the same. Have an absolutely great day.